It's time for Veterans Issues, the show that brings you information about veterans, military, and their family. Now here's your host, Ken Rollins.
Welcome to Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins. Today's guests are from the Birmingham VA Medical Center. I got the director, Tom Smith, Public Affairs Director, Jeff Hester. We'll be right back. Get you up in. Welcome back into Veterans Issues. Today's guests are from the Birmingham VA Medical Center. The director of the center is Tom Smith, and the Public Affairs Director is Jeff Hester. Welcome to the show, guys. Jeff.
Yes, sir.
There you go. He's got that down. Smith, good to see you.
Thank you.
I haven't seen you in a long time. We got to do this more often.
Absolutely.
What's the chance of getting you on here about once a month?
We talk about it.
All right. You have your people contact my people. What's the latest thing at the Birmingham VA? That sounds like a stupid question, but I know you always got something going on. You snuck up on me with a renal transplant that time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as always, we're busy at the Birmingham VA. You know, this is the Veterans Month. This is during Veterans Day week. We had a lot of activities going on. We had some folks coming in from a local florist who donated over 150 rosebuds, and we handed those out to our veterans one day. And Mrs. Alabama was there to help us do that. She brought a bunch of cards from local elementary school students. They'd made those cards up for our veterans. We handed those out. It was a real special time. There was a lot of community activities, folks coming in and wishing our veterans in the hospital a happy Veterans Day.
Was it Miss Alabama or Mrs. Alabama?
It was Mrs. Alabama. Now, Miss Alabama's coming to visit us next month in December to wish our veterans happy holidays.
Yeah. I got a buddy on there as Miss Senior USA, a friend of mine on Facebook. She's out in Las Vegas today. They're trying out. They just had the Miss Universe contest. Now there's a Miss Senior Universe, and they don't look like seniors. I'm gonna tell you, she don't. And we wish them the best. But is there anything that's specific that y'all are doing over there now that since the last time you here that we hadn't been doing at it?
Well, you mentioned the renal transplants, our renal transplant program, which came into effect back in 2016. One of the just a few transplant centers around the country in the VA. We've done our 9th renal transplant now,
man.
Kidney transplant, yep, and they've all gone very, very successfully. And the Military Order of the Purple Hearts is kind of our sponsor for that. They come out and recognize the veteran and bring them a big fruit basket, but it's always a big celebration. The program's going very well, but we've got well over 40 folks who have gone through our transplant clinic and are now on the list.
Wow.
For transplant sometime in the future.
He was like, last time he was on here, it was like 4 or 5, and I'm just saying, man, I hope that thing
growing.
is because
We hope to get into double digits pretty soon.
yeah. See, somebody like me that's a diabetic, you know, that down the road, you some of the times you live long enough for it to go into renal failure, and I would love to know that that's still going on if that time were to come. But I had a fella, we was talking off thing about an Elvis impersonator. One of the biggest ones around here right now. I don't mind saying Terry Turner. Y'all did a open heart surgery on that man. Changed his life.
Absolutely.
And I just wish he was on Facebook to see some of the compliments he pays to the Birmingham VA hospital for saving his life and the great job they did. It's not, the VA is looked upon as like taking care of this little ailment here and this little ailment there. They never looked upon it as being a state-of-the-art, life-saving situation like that.
Absolutely. Got some
amazing.
great surgeons at the VA.
Jeff, what you been doing?
Working.
I caught him off.
Well, working extremely hard. You know, when you're talking about new initiatives, one of the major ones we're working on now is our telehealth. What we're trying to do is get the health out to the community via monitors and through the iPads, through technology, where the veteran can receive care at a point of care in their community and receive it from a provider at the Birmingham VA. We just did a ribbon cutting with Congressman Adderholt at the Coleman County Health Department. So our veterans in the Coleman area can go to the Coleman County Health Department, go into a room with a VTEL machine, talk to one of our providers in Birmingham and receive their care right there in their own community. And we're trying to do that around the state. So
I've done that at our CBOC here in Oxford with the people in Birmingham before.
And right. The one at Coleman County is going to be primarily for telemental health, but we do it telederm, teleretinal. There's several ways that you can do all kind of telehealth through that.
Wow.
We
Where
do
headed at.
telerehabilitation and we do telehome care for those folks who have chronic conditions who need to stay at home.
We were talking about long-term health out there a while ago, and it just made me think of one of the things you find in our veterans home is the Skyping. They got 32-inch TVs all around, each outside their rooms. And Mr. Jones can go out there and log on. The nurses will help him log on, and he'll call his wife in Huntsville from Pell City. And it's nothing for you to ride by there or walk by and see on the other end a woman sitting there with a little dog yapping in the background because it recognizes Papa in the home.
Exactly.
And it's just like the next to being there. I mean, they've taken that, the technology has just made it. The guy don't know how, he couldn't log on to save his life. He's 92 years old, but he can see his grandkids, all of them gather around, and they can talk to Papa at 3 o'clock in the morning if they want to. It's
And that's one way that we've leveraged technology to continue to improve our access, not only in our clinics, at the community clinics and the hospital, but also at home and in our community clinics, hooking back up. And we're kind of a hub for other areas. For instance, we are a mental health telehealth hub for the Southeast. And we assist VAs like Tuscaloosa and do telemental health for them because they may not have the capacity to do that at their facility.
That's amazing. That's let's talk about technology too. I remember several years back, our owner of our health management, our health care provider, walks into the Huntsville nursing home, and he sees two veterans back there swinging and yelling and swearing, and he goes and tells the DON, the nurse, that he got two veterans out there and having a squabble. You know, there's something going on, and they're swearing, and he goes out there and they're playing Wii, you know, and but he told him we got to knock the swearing off but keep on playing the Wii. Now the answer to that was, the benefit from it was, nurses would say, therapists would say, we can't even get them to raise their arms. You gotta be able to raise their arms. But now they're out there throwing their arms out of socket. We went from one to the other. But they play a Wii, and they have tournaments, and who would ever thought of something like that? Trying to get somebody to loosen up and move around. But we got a minute, so I want to make sure we get some things in here. The women's health you talked about, and we talked about, you know, years ago there wasn't that much emphasis on women, but I remember when Birmingham had to start out nearly a whole floor for a women's clinic that didn't have one.
Absolutely.
You had to adjust for that.
Women veterans is probably one of our fastest growing population areas.
Yeah.
For instance, just over the last year, we've grown over 15% in women and women's enrollments. And women bring special needs of health care to our facility. So we've adapted to that and provided those services. We've got 2 state-of-the-art women's health clinics in Birmingham, at the Birmingham Clinic downtown there, and at the Huntsville Clinic up in Huntsville.
Oh, you have one in Huntsville too?
Absolutely. Very, very nice women's health clinic there. In addition to that, we have over 25 providers and women's health teams across North Alabama in every one of our clinics and every one of our facilities to take care of women and their special needs. I'll be glad to tell you more about that.
Well, let's take up there when you come back. I got to go to a break, got to pay the bill. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. We're talking with the director of the Birmingham VAMC and the Public Affairs Director, Jeff Hester, and Tom Smith. And Smith, when we went there, we was talking about women's health care. I know we cut short there because of commercial, but what else did you want to?
Well, I can tell you that we take care of most of the needs of our women veterans in-house, and what we can't, we obviously arrange and coordinate their care within the community. One of the newest things that we're able to provide that we were not able to provide before, but with the building of our new clinic in Birmingham, we put a mammography in there. Okay. So they can now get their mammograms in the VA at the Birmingham Clinic. However, if they have to travel more than 50 miles to get that mammogram, we'll send them out to the community so they can get it
Under
done.
the choice program.
Exactly, and done conveniently or here in the community. And we've got women's health coordinators who coordinate the care and oversee the care for cervical health screening, for breast care, for mammograms, and they make sure that our women being taken care of regardless of the venue in which they get their care.
When you're talking about the mental health, do you have in the facility over there, and I don't know if this ever come up or not, do you have the ability to deal with people who have suffering from sexual assault, things under PTSD as a result of that? Do y'all have that ability?
Absolutely,
Or
absolutely.
does that come under mental health?
That's all under mental health, but the women veterans can get that care through the women's health clinics, and that's another area where those women's health coordinators coordinate the health, mental health care as well. So they bring pharmacy, mental health, whatever it may be, and they oversee and coordinate that care for our women veterans. So yes, they get that service and they get it coordinated through. It's kind of like a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
They come into the women's health clinic, or they see their women's health provider at their CBOC, their community clinic, and then the care is arranged for them wherever it may be.
I didn't even know the other day till that the hearing clinic was over in the parking thing. I thought it was still over at the other place, and I still find out things like that. But prosthetics is over there in the parking deck. And on my way out, I got a power chair that, I don't know, just maybe by somebody with a big butt been sitting in it and just wore down and it's not uncomfortable. And I had heard that they had the pad that they could put in there, and I rolled up to the window and the lady said, "You get a consult." I called the clinic here on my cell phone, got a consult, put the phone over there, they gave them the number back and forth. I rode out there with the seat. It wasn't no big
awesome.
deal, and it was so much laughing and carrying on and fun from those people. And I want to drive back to Birmingham just to meet with them again because it made my day. But they took care of me. There was no use to go through all the procedures and the red tape when it was going to end up with that result anyhow. So why not do it,
And that's what we're trying to do in the VA, make it transparent, make it the veterans VA.
Yeah.
Like you're describing. Sometimes they amaze me at how well they do that.
Yeah, they could have easily said, "You'll have to go back and get your clinic to send this to us," and blah blah blah. And I had the cell phone technology to do that, and they were listening to it, and they said, "Okay, tell them to give me such and such," and they did, and it came in on their computer as we were talking. And I thought, this is what the VA is all about. I remember a time they would have told you where you can go, and really how you can get there.
Yeah, then Ken, when you're talking about the women veterans, we've just done a lot of stories on our female veterans. And like Mr. Smith was saying, we're growing by 15%. The regular veteran population is about 3%. But we have a lot of things for our younger female veterans that are coming in, because that's the biggest influx that we're getting. And right now we have about 120 young mothers who are going through our programs at the VA.
Wow, I hadn't thought about that.
Right, and we coordinate all their care through our pharmacists, that are there, through the physicians that are there, through the GYNs. We send them out for the obstetric care, but we keep that coordinated there within the VA. And we do a big baby shower for them, with the help of our veteran service organizations. Yeah. We bring a lot of people in and give them all the kind of things they need for the children, educate them about being a young mother, do those kind of things. It's really a neat program to go to. I think we've got one coming up December the 9th. So if you're in the mood to come take care of about 30 young mothers,
well,
it really is a good program for our female veterans. Because we were doing that story, and I was taking people around the hospital, and we only had about 3 inpatients who were females. And they said, "Well, where's all the females? Y'all were growing so much." I said, "Yeah, but all that we're growing are 20s, 30s, and 40s.
Yeah.
They're not in their 80s and 90s yet. That population's a little bit smaller. That's why you don't see the huge influx of female veterans that are inpatients like you do the males. But eventually that will be there. But right now they're younger, they're mothers, they're working and doing those kind of things." So
here normally think about Army. You got Air Force and Navy, all of them. And those services, a lot of the females go in because there is a great education to be got in the Navy or the Air Force, and just as we as an Army. But I can see a larger influx down the road as you get older, as you were talking about. And that brings me to something there, Mr. Smith, is out years, we know that we got troops over in Afghanistan, and we know that in places like Lakeshore and all the places from Walter Reed all over the country, we got people in therapy, amputees, single, double, triple, quadruple amputees. We in the veterans' homes are looking in the out years that we'll have to be doing long-term health care on these people. And handling a patient with no arms or legs is a lot more difficult on a young CNA.
Absolutely.
So y'all got some challenges facing you, I'm sure.
We do, and we have to plan strategically for the future. The entire VA does, obviously, because with every new conflict comes new challenges, as you and I were discussing earlier. And we've got to plan for that in the future, just not for a residential care, long-term care, but what happens in that long-term care with the amputees, the double amputees, as they age. You know, a lot of these young veterans that have prostheses, they're doing wonderful. You know, they're still in athletics, they're fit, they're muscular, but as they age, that's going to become more and more difficult. I'm sure they'll stay in pretty good shape, but they will have their challenges, and those will be our challenges. We've got to be prepared to meet them. And as we were also discussing, we've got to work with our community partners, our state partners, because we know that we can't do it alone. We need our community partners, our other stakeholders, to help us deliver that care. So we need to both start working strategically and partnering up.
We got to, otherwise we would get caught. And it was somewhat like with the female veteran, didn't get caught, but we were not preparing in the out years. We had to start preparing at their now years, you know,
absolutely.
to get ready for it. And I just when I hear that the population and female veterans would go down, I just couldn't see that, knowing what's out there serving today, and I just can't see it. Is the parking thing working good down there?
We love the parking deck. It's
Our
working
veterans
great.
love the parking deck.
You know,
Right. It's a great thing for our veterans, their families. They come, they don't have a worry in the world. A lot of them just step off their cars, go straight into the clinic. If they're not, they get on the shuttle and it goes straight to the hospital. So, I mean, it's a perfect setup for the veterans. 8
So you know
stories
it's
high,
working.
2,334 spots, so you can't
you know
beat
it's working, but you don't really know what I know. I know it's working because I don't get any calls on it anymore. I used to that was the biggest gripe was the parking over there. We got a minute. I want to make sure I get it on the choice program. The choice program is still there, been extended for a few more months. I've used it for optometry. I've used it for a couple other things. I think dermatology or something. It didn't have anything to do with the mileage. It just said, you know,
Right.
it was more convenient. So you recommend that people still get into that?
The choice program still has its challenges, but I think the VA is going to fix it as we go through the next couple of years. You know, we're going to put out a new contract for a new provider or a network of providers, and you should see that within the next year to 18 months. Meanwhile, we will make sure that our veterans get taken care of, and we'll monitor and coordinate their care, and we'll take care of any problems that they have.
Thank you for coming back down here.
been a
We
pleasure.
always run out of time. I got a bunch of stuff I want to talk about. And Jeff, as always, it's good to see you. It's good
Yes,
to have
sir.
you. Alabama's when you say that Alabama is fortunate to have somebody like that, right? Don't let him hear you, but
We won't.
we won't say it.
Yeah, don't let me hear
I
it.
appreciate them coming in today, and they'll be back. We'll see you right here on the other side with some news that you can use. Get your pen. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope you got something out of the visit from the director and the public affairs folks from the Birmingham VA. If you've got any questions regarding the VA, just give me a call. My information's here on the set. And give me a call and I'll get the information to them to find out, get you an answer to the question. I asked folks, did you have any questions for the VA director? And all the questions had to do with claims and whatever, so I haven't even bothered asking him because he's not in the claims business. He's in the healthcare tech. So if you got any questions about healthcare at the Birmingham VA or the clinics, give me a call. Santa Claus, y'all remember Santa Claus? He'll be here next week. And if you'd like to come down and bring the kiddies and be a part of that, we can put you on TV with him. It'll be at 12 o'clock next Tuesday here at the studio on Highway 78. So come on down and see Santa Claus. And he's at the North Pole somewhere with his elves today, and he'll be working his way down this way. So remember this VA hotline. I want you to write that down somewhere. If you don't need it for yourself, you need it for a neighbor or somebody else that might need it. It's started in the White House, and it's a good hotline. It does work. It's 855-948-2311. Anything veterans, even up to the part of the suicidal line. That's not what it's for, but 855-948-2311 is a VA hotline. And this other line is a crisis line. This is the one when you see somebody want to harm themselves is 1-800-273-8255. When the voice starts, press 1. 800-273-8255. Keep that handy in case you know of a veteran that's in distress. And this time of the year is a good time to have it, because we lose 22 a day, and the holidays are very troublesome to veterans and the military. So keep those numbers handy. I want to tell you about a group that's really doing good stuff. I tell you about them every week, and I'm going to keep on telling you because they are doing great stuff. They're called Wounded Warriors Alabama. Wounded Warrior Alabama. Not Warriors, but Wounded Warrior Alabama at gmail.com. The phone number is 256-458-2715. 256-458-2715. If you know of a veteran in distress, needing his power turned off, or windows broke, or anything that the veterans need, this guy, his name is Ross Winter. He is a businessman in the area and well across the state, and he's a veteran, and they walk the walk, folks. If you got a veteran in need, and you tell them I told you to call. The firefighter memorial status is about finished. We should be finished in the next couple of months for the official firefighter memorial for the state of Alabama. Anyone that's killed in the line of duty, his name will be on that memorial. If you got wheelchairs out there that you no longer need and the battery's still good in them, I got veterans that need them. They're not allowed to get them through Medicaid or through the VA, whatever, but they use them to ride to the mailbox and up and down the street to gossip. But I've given several of them away that people no longer needed them, so let me know. The law enforcement tag, don't forget that when you get ready to get your tag. The revenue from that helps to build the memorials up there in the park. They tell me I'm out of time, so I'm going to go this. A great organization doing great work this time of the year and been doing it for a long time is Toys for Tots, and they've got boxes all around the area. Toys for Tots is a way that you can help a kid that may not have a toy. So this salute goes out to all those working for Toys for Tots. We'll see you next week here with Santa Claus.